Hello, everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 25 of Season 6 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Carhartt Challenge here at Sawmill Speedway, as we're getting set for 17 laps of racing at one of the best road courses we go to on the schedule. Now, before we take a look at the starting lineup, let's take a look at the top 10 in the points, which got shaken up quite a good bit after the last race at Darlington. Jake Baskinger still leads the points, but by 14 points over the previous race winner, Jessica Shelton. Third is Cole Deaver, fourth Dylan Poteet, fifth James McLeod, sixth Rob Evans, seventh Jonathan Zorline, eighth Anthony McCrory, ninth Caleb Kilburn, and then 10th Trent Dunham. And speaking of Caleb Kilburn, let's get to the starting lineup. Starting in the last row is Cody Lamas, Dylan Poteet. In the top 10, Caleb Kilburn is on the pole for today. Starting next to him is Dylan Young. And then we got Curtis McIntyre teammates in row 2, Joshua Sekuli, DJ Curtis. Row 3, Anthony McCrory, Cole Baker. Row 4, Melissa Alexander, Emmanuel Hartnett. And then row 5, Joey Parkhill and Jay Jefferson. But with that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Carhartt Challenge at Sawmill.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers rolling around to get to the start-finish line. Now, this race, this track in particular, we might see some green flag passing for the lead, possibly, but it's going to be even crazier this time because the pit frequency is up at 4 times, which is the maximum. So we're going to see pit stops galore here at Sawmill Speedway. So could come down to fuel strategy of who's got the most left in the tank. As the pace car pulls into pit road, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to boogity, 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 go racing. Caleb Kilburn got to lead the first lap, and wasn't easy for him to keep the lead. In fact, he actually did get passed by Dylan Young going through the first few corners here, but got the spot back. But right now, I know I said that twice, but the top 4 are actually racing for the race lead, at least for now, and I'm not sure what in the world happened to the camera angle right there, and why it just went to a shot of pit road and whatnot. But right now, the top 4, Caleb Kilburn, Dylan Young, Joshua Sekuli, and Anthony McCrory. 3 Fords up here in the top 3, but for different teams. You got Average Joe Enterprises, Young Motorsports, and Curtis McIntyre Racing represented up here in the top 3 for the Ford camp. But man, look how close the racing is already up here at the front with the top 4. So yeah, this is definitely proof as to why Sawmill is one of the best road courses we go to on the circuit. Although Kilburn took that corner a little bit wide, and I'm not sure as to why in the world that keeps happening. Anyways, I was going to say, now we got a battle on the track for the 5th position between teammates and husband and wife. Melissa Alexander right now has the spot, but Joey Parkhill wants it. He better hope he doesn't wreck his own wife, otherwise there's going to be problems in bed between those two. It's starting to get a little bit spread out up here at the front of the field as I'm double checking to see if anybody's come to the pits already. But Caleb Kilburn hanging on to the race lead for now. Caleb Kilburn, in fact, comes into this race 9th in points, looking for his 3rd win of the season to tie with Jessica Sheldon and James McLeod for the most here in Season 6. One thing I have noticed with Season 6, it's been an up and down season for a lot of the farewell drivers who are not coming back after this season or are taking a hiatus. Take, for example, the ones who are doing really, really well are guys like Dylan Poteet, James McLeod, Anthony McCurry, and Trent Dunham, who are all in the top 10 in the point standings. Others, such as Emmanuel Hartnett, Joshua Collard, not so much. So a little bit of imbalance, you could say, amongst the final season drivers. As we are almost a quarter of the way through the race, and right there you saw it, Dylan Young got a big run to the back bumper of Caleb Kilburn. Can he dive it down low entering turn 1? Nope, he's going to stay in line behind the 99 for the time being. And my sticky keys went off. That's great. And now the frame rate's fixed, so I apologize for that sudden interruption. I wasn't sure why the sticky keys decide to come up. But anyways, still a good battle going on between the top two. It's just Dylan Young hasn't been able to figure out which way he wants to get around the 99. And Dylan Young definitely has been in need of a good finish. He comes in this race 37th in points. Well, then again, he did get a good run at Darlington just a few days ago. But he's looking to keep some of that momentum going. And still nobody is elected to come into the pits, even at 4 times wear and fuel consumption. No pit stops have occurred just yet. But yeah, the most of the top 10 are actually relatively close to one another. It's just separated by a couple or more car lengths in between one another. But the top 4 has remained the same pretty much ever since the drop of the green flag. The 99, the 2, the 10, and the 61. McCurry, Sekula, Young, and Kilburn. Let's see what's going on here in the back, and it's a bit of a cluster of cars running here in the back of the field as we're looking around, and as far as I can tell, nobody has crashed or has sustained any damage. But let's take a look. Yep, all 40 cars still on the racetrack. As we're closing in on 11 laps to go, and you gotta wonder about pit stops. When will these drivers have to come to pit road for the first time? And actually, right there at that lap, Caleb Kilburn actually managed to pull away from Dylan Young. First big battle since the drop of the green flag up here in the top 5. We got a battle for the 3rd position between Joshua Sekula and Anthony McCurry. McCurry trying to go on the outside here in this corner on Sekula, but that might cost him a little bit, because now, unless he can dive it in here, he almost made it work. But now he's actually brought Melissa Alexander into the battle, so it might turn into a 3-way fight for the 3rd position if Melissa Alexander has something. And she won at a road course earlier this season, Sonoma, in fact. One of the first road course trips we had here in Season 6. And still... Oh, I spoke too soon. Some of the leaders have elected to come to pit road, although the husband and wife couple of Melissa Alexander, Joey Parkhill, along with James McLeod, Logan Bradley, and Benjamin Miles, among others, so about little over half the field decided to come into the pits, while the other half stayed out. This is going to be interesting because they are pitting at right around the halfway point of the race. So, because there are no cautions on road course races, this is going to get really, really interesting when we get to the final couple of laps of the race. Could the 6, the 26, the 51, the 90 be in the catbird seat to get good finishes if they only have to pit one time? And that fact, let's actually look and see who came out ahead of these cars. And it looks like Charles Sanford might have gotten out ahead. I think he might have went with 2 tires instead of 4 tires, because it's Sanford, then Jefferson, Kilburn, Curtis, and then Dylan Young. So yeah, quite a big shakeup into the pits, but now the rest of the field has elected to come to pit road. Although I'm not sure as to who's going to come out ahead of this second group of cars, as I'm going to try and get to Charles Sanford. There he is, who could be the race leader. Sanford actually has a huge gap over second place. And in fact, yes, he does take the lead. At least for now. So it looks like the field, when everything gets cycled from this first round of pit stops, looks like Charles Sanford. I was just double checking. I thought I saw a car damaged. But Charles Sanford is the race leader. And now we got a battle for second between Caleb Kilburn and Jay Jefferson. But it looks like Kilburn gets the spot. So third is Jay Jefferson. Fourth, Dylan Young. Fifth, Joshua Sekuli. Sixth currently is Cole Baker. Seventh, Joshua Collard. Eighth, DJ Curtis. Ninth, Joey Parkhill. And then 10th actually now goes to Anthony McCrory. 11th, Melissa Alexander. 12th, James Qualls. 13th, Phil Parker. 14th, Rob Evans. 15th is James McLeod. 16th, Logan Bradley. 17th, Benjamin Miles. 18th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 19th, Jake Baskinger, the points leader. And then 20th would be Cole Deaver. 21st, Matt McIntyre. 22nd, side-by-side between Tim Fiegel and Kyle Matthews. 24th, I believe, would be Trent Dunham. Let's see here at the line. Yes, indeed. 25th, Jordan Forbes. 26th is Carson Gump. 27th is Dylan Jacobs. 28th, Bradley Zorgdrager. 29th, Jessica Sheldon. 30th, Chris Dollarton. 31st, Michael Norman. 32nd, Seth Cole. 33rd, Zachary Fitzwater. 34th, Dylan Poteet. And then we got a battle for 35th, and it looks like Shelley gets it for now. And then right now, the bottom 5 would be Rafael LeDuc, Johnny Gardner, Jake Rogers, Jonathan Zorline, Cody Lamas. While Charles Sanford has the race lead, look behind him, the dominant car in the first half of the race. Oh, but Sanford goes into the pits. Perhaps he pitted early and then had to go back in. I was just about to say, it looked like Caleb Kilburn was starting to reel in the 03 for the lead, but Sanford, not sure if perhaps maybe they didn't get all of the gas in the car. I don't know. That's an interesting development right there for Charles Sanford. Perhaps he had to pit sooner because perhaps maybe they didn't get all of the gas in the car. Perhaps a miscommunication on pit road caused that to happen. I don't know, but it handed the lead back over to Caleb Kilburn, who was leading by almost a second and a half over Joshua Sekuli, although Sekuli actually has a pretty fast race car, and he's actually kind of reeling in the 99 a little bit, as it turns out. But now it's going to be 6 laps to go now here in the Carhartt Challenge here at Sawmill. Meanwhile, we might have a battle for third ensue as Cole Baker currently holds on to that position, but Dylan Young right there on his tail to try and get that spot for himself. But then you got two more cars right behind, Joshua Collard and Melissa Alexander. Then you got McCurry, Parkhill, Evans, and McLeod. So yeah, the top 10. Oh yeah, Bow threw up right there. But the top 10 really got shaken up quite a good bit as a result. Oh, we actually have some cars damaged. James Qualls has some damage on his race car. Phil Parker's way in the back. And I think even Jay Jefferson and DJ Curtis perhaps had to pit at the same time. No cars out of the race. Even though Qualls has some major damage to his race car and slow on the track, right there in frame with the leaders, he's still trying to keep it going. 5 laps to go here at Sawmill, and I know for sure not everyone's going to be able to make it on fuel. But the guys that I'm really curious about are those who pitted after the Caleb Kilburn group did, and that group was led by Melissa Alexander in the 6. Could she be in the catbird seat to perhaps win this race on fuel mileage, or will Caleb Kilburn try and stay out and make it on fuel that way? Perhaps could he be saving fuel right now? I don't know. It's hard to tell considering Sakuli is trying to reel in the 99. It's just been a matter of trying to figure out the timing of the braking in the corners and trying to run lower on the track than Kilburn has been running. Although Kilburn comes into the pits. As expected, there's Melissa Alexander back still out on the racetrack, although she overdrove that final corner, almost went into the grass. Then you got Joey Parkhill right behind in second, and then you got McLeod, Miles, Hartnett, who started dead last, I believe. Or, I don't know, I could be wrong. I could have swore he started dead last. But right now in 5th, at least until he has to pit. Let's watch the 99. It looks like maybe fuel only for the 99. Perhaps a lot of other cars are going fuel only. Looks like Sakuli went with fuel only, and everyone else looked like they either went with 2 or more tires and gas, but it looks like it was a fuel only stop for the 99 and the 10. As I'm trying to get back up to the leader, Melissa Alexander, let's see if she's coming in this time. No, she's going to stay out. So will Parkhill, McLeod, Miles. They all stay out another lap. I don't know if it's going to be close. If these drivers can save up enough gas to make it to the very end, which is 3 more laps, less than 3 laps, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out here at the end of this race. But right now, Melissa Alexander has almost a 1.5 lead over her husband, Joey Parkhill, and then we may see a battle for third before they come into the pits between McLeod and Miles, but right now, not the case. As I'm keeping an eye on the leader and see when she's going to come into the pits, if she's going to come into the pits. Let's see. Is she going to come in? Yes, she is. What about Parkhill? Yep. McLeod, yes. Miles almost missed it, but made it in. What about Forbes? Looks like everyone else, although Seth Cole going to take the big gamble and stay out another lap, and it's now 2 laps to go. Can he save up to hold on to win this race? I did not expect that to happen. And then, of course, you have, where is he? There's Caleb Kilburn, who has been the dominant car all race long. Man, things are going to get really, really interesting here. Oh, some contact between Melissa Alexander, Joey Parkhill, and Melissa got into the wall. That's going to cost her several positions on track. I was trying to get to Seth Cole. Let's actually pull up the miles per hour gauge on the top middle of your screen and watch and listen to his engine. If he's going to be able to stay out, or is he going to come into the pits now? Let's watch. Yes, he can't make it, so he's coming into the pits. Although if he can just get fuel only and get out ahead in time, he might still be able to hold on to the race lead. Does he cross the line with the lead, though? Just short. Just short of the start-finish line, and here comes Kilburn. Seth Cole, I don't think he's going to be able to outbeat Caleb. Looks like here we are. Caleb Kilburn takes the lead back as the white flag was just displayed. And Caleb Kilburn still has a pretty solid lead under a second. Looks like somehow, some way, Melissa Alexander's still going to get a top 10 out of all this, even though she had sustained some damage coming out of pit road. But Caleb Kilburn, who has been the dominant car of the day, but it hasn't been easy. He hasn't had, like, huge leads to any stretch of the imagination, but still is going to perhaps come through with the win as long as he doesn't make a huge mistake here in the final corners. But he has a pretty sizable lead over the 10 car of Sekuli as we're coming out of the final corners. And Caleb Kilburn's going to be able to make it. Checkered flag getting ready to wave. Third win of his career and of the season. Caleb Kilburn wins the Carhartt Challenge at Sawmill. Crazy fuel strategy there at the end of the race to see who was going to be able to come out on top. But Caleb Kilburn pulled one out of his hat and got his third win of the season. Great performance by that 99 car. But let's look at the rest of the results. Joshua Sekuli came through, was top 5 pretty much all day long, and finally managed to get up to second and finished in second. So it was a great points day for the 10 car. Cole Baker with a great run in third. Dylan Young, second straight good finish for him, finishing in fourth. And then Joshua Collard with a great run in the 5th position. Rob Evans, great comeback run, finishing in the 6th position. Anthony McCrory with a solid run in 7th. Melissa Alexander suddenly got 2 spots at the end to finish in 8th. Joey Parkhill finishing in 9th. And then rounding out the top 10 was Charles Sanford. And then there's the rest of your top 20, your top 30. And then the bottom 5 for this week were Rafael Ledoux, Cody Lamas, Jonathan Zorline, Dylan Jacobs, and James Qualls. So tough break for those guys. But no cars out of the race. Even though we had a couple of damaged cars, they still continued and finished this race on the lead lap. So with that said, thank you guys for watching the Carhartt Challenge at Sawmill. As far as where we're heading to next, I'm not sure, but until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into race 26, and this is Levi McIntyre signing off.